welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, my other neurosis. Ahoy.
Ahoy!
It is a new day.
It is.
It is a day that I did not have to do jury duty, so that's something.
Aha! Surprise! Non-jury duty again. It's so bizarre.
So
again.
Now,
listeners,
I will say
this is what three?
Four.
Oh no!
It's my fourth time.
Four. This is Colin's fourth jury duty time in his little window of I don't know what you call it, of eligibility. I guess. I don't know.
Yes. Of wonder. I guess.
I don't think that's what they call it, but that's what I'm going to call it because that word makes sense to me. So we're going to go.
There's a lot unknown. Yeah. Now I must say,
it's true.
It's one of those moments where it's like, sure, did I drive back home 2 hours to be ready for this in the morning? Was it fun to do that? No. No, it wasn't. But then, like, when I knew it was wrong. I knew something was wrong when the judge came out, because usually they have the clerk come out and say, like, read off the paperwork and say, here's the little spiel and here it goes and here's what's going to happen and blah blah blah. And then the bailiff comes out and he goes, all rise for honorable blah blah blah. And then you rise and the judge sits down and he gives you a little talk. Well, the judge just like walked in wearing his normal clothes and was like, okay, here's the thing. Thank you for all being here. You're not needed. The prosecuting attorney had to go in through for emergency surgery, so we're not able to hold the trial today. And you're dismissed. I was literally seated for wild. I was seated for 5 minutes. I was sitting down for 5 minutes. Now, when this happened, obviously, my first feeling is this really sucks. Okay, it's followed very quickly by, I hope the person. Right, like that's kind of a big deal, and I mean,
right, but,
and so
2 hours for this, so
right. Well, the lady in front of me was like stood up and like ripped off her badge and was like, I drove 3 hours for this. Are they reimbursing me for mileage? I guess not. And was like really angry about this. And I get it. Like it was.
I mean, they could have called you, like, hey, guess what?
Well, so I was thinking about this because I was like, they don't call you to let you know that you have jury duty. They send a letter. And so I think,
that's a good point. So
I think they have some sort of legal. I think they have some sort of legal precedent and like requirement of how they contact people, because Dad was like, well, why didn't they? Yeah, because Dad was like, why didn't they text? He said, you get text messages when you get jury duty. And I said, yeah, but I had to sign up for those. I had to elect into the text message alerts. That was not something that's offered to everybody, because some people sit on jury duties who don't have phones, right? Like they can't just call everybody. They can't. That's not a requirement. But in order to, because who are they going after? People who,
because I guess that would be considered like discriminatory,
yes,
right? Like if you
it
required to have a phone, like
yep, can't do that. So you have to have an address, because you have to be a registered. So what are they linked to? Voting registry and paying taxes. But all of those require having an address to relate, to have paperwork sent back to you. So that's what they go off of. They go off of your address, and so they can't exactly send a same day letter to you.
True. Telegram.
Exactly. That when they woke up that morning and at 8 o'clock, the prosecuting attorney was rushed into the hospital. Like, can't exactly get a letter out. Yeah. So I really think that there's some sort of legal requirements for how they do it, because the judge, because I've sat through a few of these in very recent memory.
Oh, yes, because you're an expert now.
I am. You're welcome.
Duty.
I will feel free to send your questions. He was very earnest about procedure, because obviously what he is trying to do is he's trying to run the courtroom so there's no point or a possibility of like a mistrial or a technicality where somebody could come back. Like, that's really his job in a lot of cases, is to make sure that when he says order in the court, he's really saying like the procedures are not being followed, and we are and so that's what he's trying to do, is he's trying to keep it fair and manage it so that the person gets a fair trial and nothing is swayed. And so when he's up there, he's like, look, we're going through this process. Because one of the things that he was like really harping on us on was whenever they were doing the questioning before you go in, of like, when you rise, state your name, state your number, so that we can get it rented into the court documents, so that there's no question of who was answering. Because apparently things have been,
so the stenographer can copy you down. Because
apparently jury pools have been drawn into question in years past because they didn't identify who they were, and so they couldn't reference who they was, and then you didn't have a jury of your peers because you didn't know who was saying the things, and then it ends up being thrown out. So, he's basically like letter of the law, literally here. So it just, I could imagine how if they said, we're going to call everybody. Well, if that's kind of discriminatory against people who don't have a phone or whatever. And so they just gathered us all and took all of our numbers. And I think that was the thing that I was probably a little peeved about, of like, when did you know? Because like, I was there 5 minutes prior and they were still taking my number, and we were sitting down, and like, could you have just turned away people at the door? Like, is that legally allowed, or do you have to assemble everybody? Like, you could just put somebody at the door that says, we're not doing this today, thank you for coming, and just have them repeat that forever. Like, surely.
Yeah. You would think so. I don't, again, not being an expert in this particular field. Maybe it has to be like officially called off by somebody, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
The dude, like the people that work at the desk, they can't be like, yeah, sorry, just kidding. Maybe they don't have the proper quote authority to do that. You know what I mean?
That would make sense, because then you could then the opposing attorney could just station somebody out there and send everybody away to delay the seating of a jury to give themselves more time. Right? Like,
sneaky underhandedness.
So I probably is.
So maybe it has to be the judge to be like, just kidding, guys.
Yeah, to call it off.
Time to go home.
Yep. Because that is true. He was the one who came in. Technically the second time I was called in was the first time that I was actually present. He was the one who came in and said, thank you all for showing up. Because you were here today, the defendant has decided to plead guilty and not take this to trial. You've done your duty. Have a good day. And I really want to be like, so does that count? Like, does that count? Because I
mean, I was here. You can cross me off the list. Call somebody else.
Yeah. Like, can this count towards my 3 years of you never contact me? No? Okay, that's fine. That's whatever.
Yeah, because you contact me. Here I am. I'm here.
So
yeah, I feel like this particular what word did I decide to call this? Your eligibility period. Did they only like activate like 50 people? Like, nope. That's it. We're just going to keep calling the same people over and over again.
I think what they did was they had the jury pool, and then, I think they probably had a jury pool of like 100. And then each time a jury was called in, they would only call in like 40 to 50 people of that. And then as 12 would get selected for each trial, they would just move 12 more into rotation.
Maybe.
And then keeping that original set, because when they said, he said, who here has been here before? 99% of the room had raised their hand. And so like they were really using the jury pool quite a bit over and over and over again. He did say that this was a record year for trials in the county. And I was like, that's not a good thing, right? Like that's not a good metric.
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? Because I mean, a lot of them, not most, but like a large portion of trials do come down to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to plead this and whatever, and it'll be fine, right? You know, like they do the deal or they do something or they just go, yeah, I'm guilty. Whoops. They're like, just no. Like they're like, we have all the evidence. Like, okay, I'm not going to trial.
Yes.
So maybe it was just a weird fluke that they decided to go. I don't know. It's very odd. Or maybe there's just more crimes. Who knows?
Yeah. So
who knows? Not me.
Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting to see crime. Yeah. Now I'm really looking forward to seeing this year's crime statistics come out from the sheriff's office and be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, look at all these crimes. Look at this. So many crimes.
So many crimes. Although that doesn't make me feel good.
No, it does not. But you know, it's fine.
It is. So it gave me some time.
They're catching.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was saying it means they're catching the criminalists, though, right? If they're having the trials, that means the people doing the crimes have been apprehended.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good, at least.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things of going, is there more crime or is just more crime being caught? Right? That's always the question.
That's also the criminals just become worse.
Worse at criminaling. Yep.
They're worse at criming, right? They're just getting busted all the time. So that could be it too. So if you had a lot of drive time to ponder life or listen to Rammstein, I don't really know what you did.
I did use it to listen to some podcasts, obviously. And while I was up in that service area, I did manage to do a few more drop-in checks on like shadowing, coming in behind my staff just to make sure everything is going well. And that is that's the second time that I've done that second round. It's very good. It is very good stuff. I'm definitely trying to think of a way to more formalize this into our policies and part of our, so I can make it a section of like our quarterly reviews so that I can go over that kind of information because I think it's really valuable. It's not something that we were capturing beforehand.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. See? Got a bonus deal out of
it. I did some work and then I was like, welp, let me just boogie on down back home.
Going back to see Dad, I guess. Hey, there we go.
Hello. Kobe was kind of confused because I did take Kobe home with me. And then it was like, quick, we got to go.
What do you mean we're going back?
I know. I mean, he wasn't too upset because he got to sit on top of my jacket on a heated seat. So, you know.
Oh, that's true. So he's like, let's go.
He's like, well, anyway.
Car riding dog.
Do we need to go into Arkansas at all? Can we just keep driving, please?
That's true. How long are we gonna be in this car? Did you get your car unloaded while you're up there too?
I did.
Parts of it unloaded and get done.
Ready for round 2. No, I got the
yeah. Sorry about that. It's fine.
No. We've got so last night I went to dinner with the family, with Megan and the kids, and then I drove up, so I didn't get home until like 8:30. And then to help me unwind because then I had to edit an episode. To help me unwind before bed, I was like, well, I need to get everything unloaded and like set and like kind of like positioned, stationed a little bit. So I did
kind of like where is this thing gonna live now? Right? Like this one.
I did get the houses set up reset up and put into the kids' rooms. They both have the perfect corner for it. And so
nice. All right.
The kids Lillian's is definitely going to be full of stuffed animals. So that's she is quite thrilled. She's thrilled with this.
Yeah,
news.
they need a place to go.
Yeah, as she said, they need a home.
Perfect.
So that's all well. So I did get that, and then I was like, okay, like because I'm kind of one of those people who I can't, or it's not that I can't. It's very difficult for me to focus on certain tasks if I know that there's like cleaning to do. Now, is this an effective tool?
Other things, yeah.
Yes. Is this an effective tool that I have used to procrastinate to the nth degree? Absolutely. But it is definitely. But I wasn't trying to procrastinate. I was just like, it just helped me focus a lot more on this. If I can just get all these things taken care of, get everything put back in, put together, put away, and then it'll be nice, it'll be good. So I did that.
That's good. I'm glad you found homes for things on round 1. So that'll make round two much easier, at least, right?
This was my thought.
I'll go back.
This was my thought. And I was like, I'd rather do this now without like all the people present, because that makes it more difficult. Now I can just make a unilateral decision of like, this goes here. And that way, when everyone else arrives, it's look how it's already set up and ready for you.
That's true. Oh, so this is where this goes, right? So they already know where its home is, because they had to take it out from there, right? So that is good. That's handy. Handy little piece of fun advice there to do that. So
preemptively put things away. But other than that, it's been our day. It's been pretty relaxing. It's nice and warm. Pond is still frozen, so good things.
Hey, there we go. Boom. Perfect. All I got accomplished today was laundry. I was like, okay, I can't avoid this heap anymore, especially after I unpacked my stuff from the weekend or whatever. It's like, now it's way too big. Okay, I got to start on. And the problem is, of course, I cannot, like, there's so many, like, sweaters and, like, pullover things in my laundry that I cannot do. I have to do like laundry in smaller loads because it will never dry ever. Yeah. Right. So like I was like breaking my laundry down into like, so I can do this and this and this too, and like maybe these jeans and maybe this, right? Like it is totally it's totally a fox, frog, and scorpion situation where you're like, if I combine these two together, that's way too much. What? But also, or whatever it is, the fox, isn't it? I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, the fox, isn't it the fox and the frog and the scorpion had to cross the river and oh my gosh. Okay, hold on.
Okay. We're talking about the fable thing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. My brain was not in the right frame of mind, and I was like, what?
Okay.
What?
Okay, no, it's not that one.
Yeah. Is it a fox?
No, yeah, it is a fox because he wants to climb up on his back. There's a scorpion. It's a fox and scorpion, and he's like, the scorpion's like, can you? So I was mixing the one where it's like, what's the one where it's like you have to get 3 things across, and the 2 can't go together, and it's too much. Because the fox and scorpions, where the fox is like, no, scorpion, I won't let you ride with me because you'll sting me. And then the scorpion's like, no, of course I won't. I won't sting you because if I sting you, we'll both drown. And then the fox is like, that makes sense. And then the fox lets the scorpion right on its back. And then the fox stings the scorpion stings the fox. And the fox is like, why'd you do that? And the scorpion's like, I'm a scorpion. That's what I do. And then they both
sting things. Yeah.
That's not what, what was I trying to think of what is that? What is that puzzle of like crossing the river puzzle. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
Oh my gosh.
I don't. I'm not sure. I'm gonna Google crossing the river puzzle.
Oh, it's where it's got the fox. Has to cross the river in the fewest number of trips, and it's like the fox, the sheep, and the plant or whatever.
Wolf, goat, cabbage.
Yeah, and it's like you can't put the wolf and the goat together because the wolf will eat the goat, but you can't put the wolf and the.
All right, so I have a quoting from Wikipedia. First of all, interesting. According to Wikipedia, the wolf goat cabbage problem is a river crossing puzzle. It dates back to at least the 9th century and has entered the folklore of several cultures. All right, so the story apparently is thus. A farmer went to the market and purchased a wolf, a goat, and a cabbage. First of all,
as one does, obviously.
I'm not familiar with many times in history where you just like straight up purchasing a wolf. But anyway, that's fine. On his way home, the farmer came to the bank of a river and rented a boat. But crossing the river by boat, the farmer could only carry himself and one of his purchases. If left unattended together, the wolf would eat the goat, or the goat would eat the cabbage. The farmer's challenge was to carry himself and his purchases to the far bank of the river, leaving each purchase intact. So he has to shuttle them across. And it's not what's going to be in the boat necessarily. It's going to be what's left on the bank together. Right? So
yeah.
This is... Okay.
I
feel like I don't know the solution. I'm not going to click on the solution button yet.
Fine. So that's what my brain was
trying. The solution to this?
You have to take the... I think you have to take the goat. You have to take the goat first. Then you come back. Oh, you take the goat first, and then. Oh wait, what is it? Yeah, it's you take the goat first. You come back. You get the wolf. You drop off the wolf. You pick up the goat. You take the goat back. You pick up the cabbage. You take the cabbage back, and then you go back and you get the goat and bring the goat back.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because you would leave the wolf and the cabbage together.
Yes. The hard part about this is that as presented, your brain doesn't typically think to take it back to the other side.
Across.
That's why this is hard. It's because you have to think, as most people just think, if I pick up the goat, I'll take the goat back and then I'll leave the goat and then I'll come back, I'll pick up the wolf but then they don't think, I'll put the goat back in my boat. But like you said, it's important of what's left behind. What was in my brain was you doing this kind of puzzle, piecing different articles of clothing together to try and make like the perfect and optimal laundry bundle so that you could wash it and dry it effectively. That's what I was trying.
Yes, this is true. I had to think about like how many sweaters, how many normal t-shirts, how many like undergarments of like underwear or socks and pants or lounge pants, right? Also having to take into consideration, I received articles of clothing for Christmas and those must now be washed before they enter rotation, right? Because I have this thing where I won't wear anything unless I've washed it first. It's a weird neurosis thing that I have. And I won't wear things unless I've washed them first. So like, Dad got me a shirt. Susan got me some sweet lounge pants. I am currently wearing some ballin' Lord of the Rings lounge pants, right? By the way.
Amazing.
Yes, they're so great. But like they had to be washed today because I'm not wearing them until they've gone through the wash. So they don't go into the closet rotation until they've been washed. So there was also that to take into consideration. I was like, today I have more clothes than I did 2 days ago. So
this actually fits really well because also you want to do this in the least amount of cycles possible, right? You don't want to just be doing loads of laundry for 9 hours a day. Like nobody wants to do that.
So also, right, here's the other thing, right? The goal of all of this is to because I'm on break, right? And so I can potentially just wear my pajamas for a few days in a row. I will. At the end of this, I will. There will be a small moment in time where I have zero dirty, except for whatever I'm wearing. Right, like that's it.
It's an amazing feeling too.
Yeah, when I play this out, right? Because I did a couple loads today. I do a couple loads tomorrow, and I might be done after tomorrow. But if I do have to do more, I'll do one more because Susan has to do laundry too, so we're trying to face it out, do the thing. But like, I'll wear these like pajama pants for a little bit, and then I'll wash them, and then we'll have no dirty laundry at all for like just a small amount of time, and that is the goal, right? There'll be a brief moment of history where it's all done, and then it'll get ruined because I'll have to like go to Susan's mom's house or something and like, I have to put on clothes. No,
oh no,
because my other neuroses is I cannot leave the house and wearing like I will not leave the house wearing like lounge pants or sweatpants.
Well,
I can't.
Sure.
I can't do it. So like I will have to put on jeans or some sort of other pant, right? And so then they will become dirty. Boom. Sadness.
But and it never ends.
Never ends. Ever.
Such is the human struggle.
Yes. Messes up my rotation. It's all right. It'll be fine. Like going into the new week with like one dirty shirt, not really the end of the world, right? It'd be fine. But
this is true.
Still mildly annoying. But yeah, so that was what I was doing today, puzzling how much laundry. And then throw that into the mix of like, I have a few jackets that I could wash that haven't been washed in a long time. I got to wash that. So I like wash one of my coats, and you had to like wash it like by itself, right? And then, but then you don't dry it, right? You just hang it to dry.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that fit into the rotation, right? I'm not going to dry that because it'll mess it all up. So you can hang that over here, so it has been puzzling.
Yeah, because
puzzling.
Fewer things are more frustrating than, because usually it's one load, you run the load of wash, and then you can run one cycle in the dryer, and it's done. And then while the dryer's going, obviously you get the wash going. And it is very frustrating when the second load of wash is done, but the first load in the dryer is not. And you now have
but
back
that happens a lot, right? That's okay. I'm used to that because our dryer is old and kind of inefficient anyway. So like this is the thing that happens. Sometimes you have to run it like a bit longer than just one cycle anyway.
Sure.
But does help. What you do in this situation is you take the dryer and you make sure you open it and you ruche the clothes about so that they aren't all in direct contact with one another. And you kind of even, some of them you can like hang over the edge and they will kind of, I mean, it won't be for very long, but they can begin to air dry slightly.
Yes.
While you're waiting for the dryer to be done. So that's the strat for that one. You got to play into the the old dryer. Plus, see the other thing to take into consideration here is the laundry room is small and has a door that closes it. So if you have the dryer going, there is residual heat emanating from the dryer. If you close the room, that room is now warmer than the other parts of the house, and it will maybe help the clothes that you have zhuzhed about and left in there. Maybe it will start. Maybe that will help them dry before they get in the dryer. I don't know if that's true or not. I like to think it helps. I don't know.
Well, as with many things done in life, we do them in hopes that there is something on the other end, and we go, well, it's not hurting anything, right? It's not hurting this process, so surely it'll be fine.
I mean, that's true. Definitely not going to hurt it. So there is that. But that's basically what I've done today. Just done some laundry. Some more laundry. Yes. And then slowly started to find homes for some of my Christmas presents, right? Well, I know that this can go here. I don't know where that's going to go, so I'm just going to leave it over here by by the couch for now.
Oh no!
Until I can decide where it should go.
Like, look, you're going to be in the interstitial space for just a little while because I'm going to have to move a few pieces, and
we're deciding.
Yes,
no, we're deciding where it should live. You know, might go one place and be like, actually, no, I'm not going to go there. Try somewhere else. So we'll see how that goes. That's the slow and steady route for that. My day's been mostly puzzling, as apparently that's what I've been doing. Puzzling.
Until his puzzler was sore. Anyway.
Yes, of course. Until he thought of something he hadn't before.
Yeah. Oh man, we watched that. This is obviously no longer in the Christmas season, but in the Christmas spirit. What, especially I know in the household that you reside in, it's Christmas is kind of a big deal. What are the?
Oh yeah, just a bit. Right? Just a small bit.
Just a small tiny bit. What are your go-to Christmas movies? What do you like? Do you have ones that you watch you must watch every single year?
Well, yeah, there are 3 mandatory movies that we must watch together. Now, she will watch some other movies just like by herself because, like, I don't, she'll be like, I know you don't like this one, so I'll watch it. So, like, she was watching some last week a little bit, but mandatory, without question, must be watched, is, of course, the original cartoon Grinch movie, right? With old Boris Karloff, right?
Yeah.
From was it the 60s, I guess?
60s. And who animated those? That was I don't remember.
But it's that one. That is mandatory without question. We also must watch Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. Mandatory. Right. I said the other day that we have 2 Christmas trees in my house. Technically, that is incorrect. Technically, we have 3 because we do have a Charlie Brown Christmas tree that he got from somewhere, like legit, like the little, like the bent over one with the red ornament on the end of it. So we do have that sitting on a bookshelf. So if you want to count that one as its own Christmas tree, technically we have 3. But that one, it's more of like a decoration, right? It's not
sure.
Really.
Yeah.
So that one is also mandatory. And then the third most mandatory of them all is, of course, The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yep.
Ba 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 ba. So those are the 3 non-negotiables. There are other ones that we watch just like randomly, just depending on how you're feeling or whatever. Sometimes they have those ones that are on, like, but those are the 3 non-negotiable Christmas movies in our house.
I like it.
So Susan says, sit down or else. So that's why.
Sit. Oh, yeah. We're just getting the kids into the Rankin Bass stop motion. Ones, Rudolph and what else did we watch? Well, there's Jack. We've seen Jack Frost.
Some of those are weird.
Yeah, like,
and a couple of them are like just not good.
There's there's one about a donkey, I think, and they just get worse.
Oh yeah, there is one. Yeah, there are some really strange ones. Like, I can't remember what there's a really strange one where, the Jack Frost one is odd. What's the one that's like Yeah, the Santa Claus is coming to town one. That was real weird. I don't really love that one. That's almost like the Meister Burger thing, and like,
oh my gosh, yeah,
the weird like penguin thing, and like like neither of us had watched that in a long time, and we watched that last year. We're like, oh yeah, watch this one. It was probably pretty good. It's like we hadn't seen it in years, and then we both watched it. We're like, okay,
maybe not.
Yeah, it's like why Santa has whiskers, lives at the North Pole, brings you presents once a year. Fred Astaire is like the mailman guy, like the narrator thing. Yeah, it's just all really strange and like, oh, it's like one of those movies. It's like this is why this tradition exists, but it's like some real random explanation. Like the town is like giving presents is like illegal because they're all like no joy, illegal, So like that, that was odd. I don't know. Yeah. I don't like that one so much.
Yeah. So we're not watching all of them, but mostly just Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph is good. Is Frosty the Snowman ranking best too?
That's a good question.
Not sure. It's on this list here, but
Rankin Bass.
I don't know if it is or not.
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Frosty.
That one's pretty good. Oh yeah, Frosty. Really... The Frosty one's good. I like that one. The Rudolph and the Frosty one are good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a safe one to watch.
Yeah, Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, the kids like that one a lot. So
that one's good. We usually watch that one because that one's usually it's on somewhere, so we'll watch that one. But that's about it.
Okay.
I used to really like A Christmas Story, right? But like at this point in my life, I've seen that movie just too many times. And the fact that like TBS does like the 24 hours of A Christmas Story where it's just on all day.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to watch that movie anymore. Like I've just been overexposed to A Christmas Story. I feel like that's one where I'm just like, it's fine.
Well, it is one of those.
I liked it when I was younger, but now that I'm, I've seen it 800 times. Like
I think it is one of those things where you kind of have to, like keep your powder dry on it. It's like why I don't listen to I am definitely one, as previously discussed, that will listen to the same song literally for like 5 hours on a loop with no problem. However, there are other songs where if I did that to them, I know I would ruin them and I could never go back to them. And so I listen to those very sparingly. So that I don't ruin them, so I can continue to enjoy it. And I definitely think Christmas Story is one of those that needs to be enjoyed one time a year, maybe. Like every 3 years would probably be good.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think I've watched it in at least 2 years for that reason. Like, yeah, I just don't. It's a little too much. We also watch Home Alone usually because that one's on TV a lot. The first Home Alone is pretty good. I always forget how draggy it is, though. Like that movie is way longer. Every time I watch it, I'm like, man, this movie is a lot longer than I remember it being. Right? Like it feels like there's a lot more of just Kevin just like sitting at home by himself. That's a lot of the movie. Yeah, like doing nothing. Like that's a whole lot of the movie.
Yeah.
And like the part that you remember and the part that you like enjoy watching is like the last 20 minutes of the movie. That's it. Like the part that you're always like, oh yeah, I remember this part. Like it's the end. Only. Like the rest of the movie is way too long. Now, I mean, maybe it's just like my brain playing tricks on me. Right. But like, it's an hour and 43 minutes long. And the only part that you ever remember is the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. You don't remember him.
A couple little scenes here and there. Like You remember the part where he's like having the fake Christmas party and like Michael Jordan cardboard cutouts on a little train, like going around the living room, right? But that's like 10 seconds somewhere in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, you totally skip over the fact that he shoplifts and he goes like he's just like staring around and like walking around the home, like touching things and looking at them, and like there's a whole lot of not action in that. And definitely I know that
there's a whole lot of that movie where like nothing happens.
And I know the pacing of movies has definitely changed over the years. Like modern movies just go at such an intense pace. They're almost breathless at times, which can be good and bad depending on the content. A lot of definitely older movies, there's just like time for days to do stuff and like stare at things and walk around. And you're like, oh man, if this were made today, this scene would be so chopped up and we'd be in and out and done and moving on. But that movie in particular, yeah, it's like everyone just remembers the booby traps. Like that's it. And there's an hour before that of things. So,
well, okay. So let's think about this because, you know, that movie was in 1990, right? So like other movies that are like kind of at this time, like other movies that you enjoy, like if you think about like a more actiony movie, like I don't know, like Lethal Weapon, right? Or like a Die Hard or something like that, right? They're paced such that there's like a burst of action, and then there's like, because Lethal Weapon, there's a lot of they're just like sitting in the car, right? But there'll be like burst of action, and then like them walking and talking about stuff, right? Burst of action, them walking, right? So you're like, it's up and down and up and down, even in like, I don't know, here's a really random movie for you, like Rumble in the Bronx, right? It's Jackie Chan, okay?
Yeah.
This movie has like crazy, weird Jackie Chan action scenes, and then there's just like him talking to a guy, right? You have these breaks where you have action, and then you have a break, and you have action, and you have a break, and you have action, you have a break, finale, right? Home Alone is like, the movie starts, it goes for an hour and 20 minutes, and then there's a lot of action at the end, right? Like this, because the quote unquote action in the middle is like him getting scared watching that gangster movie.
True.
Or him scaring away the burglars with the gangster movie. Or him like running downstairs and turning on a light and they leave the house. Like that's not really action-y.
Yeah,
right?
I guess that's true.
Not...
The action-y isn't enough. It really isn't enough action. Like if you think of the peaks and the valleys, like the highs and the troughs, like the difference there between the highs and the lows of like action state, it's really minimal there. It doesn't have a big differential. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like rolling hills. Right. The whole first at least hour and a half of that movie is, well, okay, we'll say hour and a little bit of that movie is just like rolling hills, right? A little bit of action, back down to Kevin eating junk food, right? Shot to the parents frantically making phone calls, back to Kevin doing something weird, right? Like taking a shower, who knows? And then like all of a sudden the end's like, dude, a bike's peak, blam, like there it is. Like, massive action scene at the end that lasts forever, right? It's a very oddly paced movie. And you don't think about it really, because all the parts that you remember are either the end or one of the random like 12-second things from the beginning, right? That's all. But those, like the early action scenes are like the action. It's like 30 seconds, right? That's it. And then the end is like 20 solid minutes of just like straight action.
Yeah.
It's like fatiguing almost. You're like, oh my gosh, why?
I'm so tired.
Yeah, it's really kind of weird, but
there's a lot that goes on with that. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So it's a weird movie. right? And I never remember that until I'm like, oh yeah, I like Home Alone, and then I'm watching it and I'm like, man, nothing is happening.
When do we get to the paint cans? When does that happen?
Yeah, right. Like, so that one. I haven't seen Home Alone 2 in several years, so I don't know if that movie is better or worse in terms of pacing. So I don't remember how that one really goes. The only part of the movie I can remember right now is there's a weird pigeon lady. And
I forgot about the pigeon.
He slides down the weird trash tube thing in one of the buildings under construction.
Yeah, and how do they... Oh, man. How does the pigeon lady get tied in with that later? She helps him with something. The pigeons do something. I know they do.
Yeah, she like takes the role of old snow shovel neighbor guy from the first movie. Right. Who's like the guy and he's like afraid of him. But like it turns out he's just like a nice dude that lives next door. That role gets transferred to pigeon lady. Right? Of like weird, scary pigeon lady in the park or whatever. That's all I know. That's all I remember. Is it Tim Curry in that movie?
Oh my gosh. I think he is.
Is he the bellhop butler, whatever guy at the hotel? Is that right?
He is.
Different movie?
Oh my gosh. No, he is. Yes. Oh my gosh. And Tim, yeah, and he definitely he gives off some. I mean, he gives off some hardcore Tim Curry vibes in that movie. Like he really plays into that really well. My goodness, he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, I forgot he was there.
Wow. Who else is in this movie? What?
No idea.
Hold on.
Let's see. Let's IMDb this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know really because I haven't watched this movie in a
Rob Schneider is in this movie. What
is he? Is this the beginning of Rob Schneider's
ascent?
Just being in random movies.
Yes, because he's in the hotel. That's right. He's in the hotel as another bellhop kind of person. Wow. Huh.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, it's just weird because he's like in New York and then like Harry and Marv are just also in New York and then they just like want revenge on this small child and like that's
definitely some weird vibes.
I don't remember how he gets alone in this movie.
Oh, I have no idea.
Because he's alone. Because like the only reason I remember that Tim Curry was even in this is because I remember him like trying to prove that he was not alone, right?
No, I thought he was trying to prove that he was alone.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Kevin is trying to prove that he's not alone. So he's Curry and the bellhops are trying to find out.
Yeah, and because he like walks in and on him, but he's like, "Oh, he had this. This movie, of course. This movie is a Talkboy commercial."
Oh my gosh! Oh,
you
good.
Remember?
Yes, I do remember
because he plays like playing off the first movie where he does that thing where he plays that movie.
Yep,
right?
The gangster movie. Yeah,
the gangster movie. Which listeners, if you didn't know, not a real movie. Sorry,
no, made specifically.
Yeah, for that.
For that.
At the beginning of the movie, he's like recording on the hottest toy of that year. Was it 92, 93, something like that?
92.
The Talkboy, which is just a handheld tape recorder.
But
he like records all the people in his family. And like, I remember there's a part where Tim Curry comes, he like busts into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And like,
weirdly,
he has rigged up like a fake person in the shower and he's like playing his uncle's voice. Right? To like respond to Tim Curry. First of all, if you ever used that tape, there's no way that this would actually like work properly.
No,
you can't like find a spot on a tape to be like, oh, here, black. Like that doesn't work.
Yeah,
but I do this even as a child. But yeah, this movie is a Talk Boy commercial.
Well, actually, so you say Talk Boy commercial. Did you know that the Talk Boy as designed was just a prop for the movie that they then licensed out to a toy manufacturer to make because of the movie?
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes, I do. When you were talking about that, I was like, wait, I've looked into this before because I loved my Talk Boy.
I was like, you had one.
I did.
Right? Like
I had one. And it was cool. I mean, it was ridiculous. It had a little tiny microphone and this little plastic stem that you could like extend out or retract down, moving it all of 3 millimeters. No, it did nothing.
But it looked cool.
It totally looked cool. And it had the little. My favorite part was you held it like a camcorder, and there was a thumb button that you activated to do the recording and such. Where instead of a button's on top, so it was a thumb activated button. So imagine sliding your hand up and gripping the whole cassette with that plastic strap around the back. And then where your thumb rests actually had a little button to actuate the recording and manipulate it that way.
Yeah, because like basically coming back from your thumb is where the microphone came out.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And at the front end was where the speaker was.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know where this is anymore, but yeah, this was a prop.
It's in the attic.
Yeah, 100%. This was a prop made for a movie that then a toy company approached them, going, "We'll make that, please, and sell it." and the studio said, "Okay, you may license the design for this prop and actually sell this to people," and they did, and it was glorious.
There you go. That's. I guess I didn't realize that. I thought maybe it was like togetherness because I don't.
No, that's what
have a good strong memory of like the timeline here.
No, you would be forgiven for thinking that because that is what is totally done in all sorts of TVs and movies today, right? Where they go, we need a phone, and then the phone manufacturers will actually petition studios to use and pay for the right to use their phone in the film or in the TV series, and then it effectively does become a commercial for them, but they have to get the rights to use the likeness. So it's definitely works the other way around. This was just must be I wonder how many other times this kind of thing happened where somebody approached them and because of the design in the movie made a product, not the other way around, because we typically don't think of them in that way.
Yeah, I bet it happened a lot in the 90s because 90s movies were real weird. And that's when like licensing kind of like, well, I mean, after the late 80s, right? Because the 80s, I guess the 80s is really when like licensed products, like being their own property in movies kind of started, right? With like Transformers and G.I. Joe and all that stuff, right? So I imagine that happened. I imagine they sold that. They made an actual action figure from like Jingle All the Way, right? I bet they did that. You know.
Yeah, you know they did, unfortunately.
True. This also reminds me, right? Speaking of strange 90s movie tropes, this was a common feature, right? Kids being alone through one way or another and like getting up to all kinds of weird shenanigans, right? This was like a very 90s movie thing that happened frequently, I think. Like random kid is alone doing weird things, like getting up to no good, you know. It's happened a lot. Do you have any favorites from this genre? Can you think of any other movies? Because I got two right off the top of my head.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of the Three Ninjas, obviously.
Oh, yes. Perfect.
as a film in which not one. I mean, technically, were they alone? Technically, no. But did it involve three boys?
Yeah, for several parts of this movie, yes, they were.
Well, but they had each. But they had each other.
They did have each other. I mean, okay, when I say alone, I mean without adult supervision.
Yes, in my brain,
other children notwithstanding.
Okay, yeah, the Three Ninjas, obviously, a prime example for this.
And that movie is great. I don't know if I would say that if I watched it today, because I have not seen that movie in a long time.
And
when I was a kid, I loved that movie so much.
I mean, notwithstanding the fact that it was also a movie of three brothers, and being in a home with three brothers, it was like, this is. Yes. How more perfect could this get? And the middle kid was favorite. The middle colored kid was blue, so it was perfect anyway. Anyway, so that's I'm throwing Three Ninjas into the
oh man, that's a good one.
Okay,
that's a good one. How about the first movie? I thought okay, so the way that I arrived at this is I was thinking about Home Alone, and then I was thinking I couldn't remember if Tim Curry was in Home Alone 2 or this other movie, because this is another movie where a kid is alone in a hotel, but he's not alone because he has an orangutan. And that movie is, of course, Dunstan Checks In from 1996.
Gosh. Wow. Wow.
It's all in all a pretty terrible movie.
It's an awful movie.
It really is. But instead of Tim Curry, that movie's nosy bellhop guy is Jason Alexander. I learned because I didn't remember.
And has Faye Dunaway in it too. My gosh, I've forgotten how terrible that movie is. Wow.
It also has Pee-wee is also in that movie.
Yeah. That just takes it a whole nother.
But that movie is insane.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Checks in.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Is your number 2? Is this going to top it, or is this going to? I don't know. Why would you lead with Dunstan Jackson? I would have said
because it's the first one I thought of.
Okay, fair.
Here, do you have any more?
My brain's still circulating about an orangutan in a hotel, and it's not.
Yeah, right. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I can't.
So
think
bad.
All
right, I got one here. Hold on. Let me read you this synopsis. Let me see if this is. I'm trying to remember. Yes. So here's another doozy of a movie, right? This movie doesn't make any sense either.
Okay. I have. Okay, I actually have. Anyway, continue. Yeah.
All right. So here we go. This. Let's see if you remember this gem. This is a movie I remember liking a lot for some reason. I don't really know why. I haven't seen it since I was like 10 either, probably. So that could be. I mean, it can't be 10 because it came out in 1995. So possibly 11. This is a movie in which a young boy apparently has to travel to China to reunite a panda cub with its mother. This is, of course, Amazing Panda Adventure. Right? Where he meets another random girl and her grandfather who is access translator, and him and girl end up for long stretches of time like evading poachers in China while they're trying to reunite a panda cub with its mother.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What the heck is that? What the
heck? I don't
That's
remember this movie. That is insane. What was going on?
Yes.
What was going on in the 90s? Why did they think that would be okay?
Real weird stuff, man.
Wow.
Real weird stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not going to top a kid with a panda in any way, shape, or form. This is a movie probably to the extreme of a child being left alone. Baby's Day Out.
Oh my gosh.
It's a literal baby evading all sorts of hijinks, causing all sorts of havoc around an entire city. Baby's Day Out, where they're going to kidnap the baby, and the baby literally crawls around. Because again, a baby crawls around the city as the kidnappers try and get the baby, but they cannot. Yes, So Baby's Day Out. That's. I'll throw that one in there because I forgot. I was like, Baby's Day Out.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's great. Another one, right? This movie apparently clocking in, I just Googled it, clocking in with a whopping 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, right. No.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
This is a movie where I don't even really know how to describe this. The setup for this movie is really bizarre. There is a 11-year-old boy, right, who gets his bike run over by a fleeing gangster, and the gangster, in order to placate the boy, gives him a check, but he forgets to write a dollar amount on the check, making it a blank check. Boom!
Oh my gosh! I remember.
So the boy writes in $1 million, and he takes it to the bank, and they're like, "Okay, here you go." And he's like,
"What?"
And then shenanigans ensue. Right? He buys a house and all kinds of real crazy stuff, and it's all yeah. There you go. And then the dude comes back and tries to seek revenge on him, but also the cops are after the bad guy. It's a whole weird movie. But blank check. Here you go.
Gosh, that's got Miguel Ferrer. Miguel, is he the I forget, is he the gangster, or who plays the gangster in that movie? I forget.
Yeah, it's him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Him.
Yeah, he plays that really well.
His picture is yep, that's definitely him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Version of him. Yeah.
I forget, what a weird premise. That's so crazy. Yeah, and he goes out and he gets everything he wants.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
Michael Lerner is in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Tone Loc, 90s favorite Tone Loc. Shout out Tone Loc. What's up?
Everybody's favorite. Juice.
Everybody loves Ferngully. Okay, they
obviously. Yes. That goes without question. This does have the weird. What is that? The weird relationship that he has with that woman halfway through, where you're like, this is a little. I'm kind of unsure about what's going on here, and I don't think.
Yeah, because she's that's weird.
It's not. Anyway,
it's it's kind of awkward. It's very questionable. She's it's implied that she's substantially older than him, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yes.
Hold on.
Heavily implied. Yeah. No thanks. That's a good one. That's good. I have.
Yes. This article says. This says, sorry, 90s kids, blank check is Disney's most disturbing movie. Now, there's one, and it's talking about that, right? It's talking about 11-year-old Preston. How old is this girl supposed to be? And then red flag occurs, and Preston starts spending all the money he has to give cars for his parents. I want to know.
I don't know.
But yeah, Shay, the 32-year-old FBI agent.
Oh, that's the other thing. FBI agent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bizarre. It's not. It's I definitely I have watched this one time in the last 10 years. What is going on with this? This is not okay in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that part until you just brought it up, and I just saw this picture. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's that scene where they're like at dinner, and then like running in the rain, and in the back of the car, and you're just like, this is really. Yeah. Is it the rain or something about that? Anyway,
something like that. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
Don't need that. So anyway,
real weird.
I have one more to add to this list, and then all I can say is this movie taught me to not play with your father's secret ray guns that he builds in your house.
Oh,
because
yes,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh my gosh, yes. This movie is so good.
One of my all-time favorite movies. I can't tell you how many times I have seen this. It's not a 90s movie, but it's a late 80s movie, so it's it counts.
Overlapping period. Right, yes. We'll count it.
Yeah.
We'll count it.
If you look at, I'm just looking at the dates of these. It spans from 1989 to 1995, 96. So it's like this time period for some reason. This was such a. I love this movie because
this is like Okay, go ahead. Do you think? And I have a comment.
Oh no. I think the thing about this movie that I just absolutely loved was their use of practical effects that made this just stand out when you watch this back again and again. And the broom scene and just how they're sliding down it, there's a slide. It just really did a great job of immersing you into what this would look like in these very mundane days or tasks in your life that now are all of a sudden like just horrible. And RIP to the ant. That's all I'm going to say. I still cry. It's
never have I been sad about the death of an ant, except for that movie.
Oh my gosh.
That movie makes you like feel really bad about ants. And you're like, no, Auntie, or whatever his name is. Like, no.
I think it is actually Auntie.
I think it is Auntie.
It's literally Auntie. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So what were you going to say?
Oh, that's all right. That's okay. I wanted to talk about that because that movie is really good. Right. I haven't seen that movie in a really long time either, but that movie is really good.
Yeah. I mean, and Rick Moranis just doing like. He is
Rick Moranis is always great.
He's always great. I love how it's like everything that he's doing to find the kids, and it's just so zany. But at the same time, you're like, I could almost believe this happening because of the premise is kind of weird, like the shrink ray in the attic. Like, okay, that's kind of odd, but I can't say enough how much I absolutely love this movie.
It's so good, right?
Yes.
Just scrolling through here, seeing if there's any other movies that I missed. I want to know your thoughts on I want to know if this movie counts because it's technically a kid alone, but it's a little bit weirder. Do we count Warriors of Virtue on this list?
Oh my gosh! Jeez. Okay. That's a movie for sure.
Technically, that kid is alone, right? But there's like weird martial arts kangaroos around him, so I didn't know about that. But
I mean, it's the kid having the adventure. I think we have definitely expanded the premise of this of being alone, but I mean, it's the kid still having the adventure. We might
put that one on a different list because he's a little bit weird. It's a little bit of an odd one, you know?
I'm going to put an asterisk by this, but...
Okay, yeah, we'll do that one asterisk.
Asterisk.
Whereas Honey, I Shrunk the Kids firmly fits into this genre, Warriors of Virtue is kind of like, maybe it's like adjacent to this.
It's definitely adjacent. But my gosh, that's more... I feel like that's more in the... like child gets picked for a special mission.
Okay, you might be right. Okay,
kind of thing.
You're right. That one is a chosen one. That is a chosen one genre movie.
That's definitely
all right.
A chosen.
We'll save our discussion about that one for later.
I still look, my brain. I'm so sorry. It's like looking back, like we watched this in theaters. I guarantee you we have. Like did we watch this in a movie theater? I get the feeling like we did.
Oh yeah, we did. It was it had to be one of those like, yeah, we would have.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we would have for sure. If it was like one of those summer movies where it was like no dollars or like,
yeah, like that. It definitely was. Oh, just the screenshots from this movie. You're like, what? How?
Yeah, like what is happening?
Yeah, it's just a fever dream of so many things. Okay, yeah. So I mean that's yeah.
There's two other movies that are slightly adjacent to this.
Okay.
Right? I guess one of them would be like The Goonies.
Yeah.
Right? That's like kids on an adventure. That's an 80s movie, right?
Yeah. Late mid 80s, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kids on
and then
adventure.
Of course, the other one that's sort of adjacent to this, where like the kids are like, they're like, it's not so much that they're on their own, but they're just like, the movie just follows the kids out doing their own thing all the time, is of course The Sandlot, the greatest movie of all time.
That's true. True. Fair.
But that kind of drifts into that weird like 90s kids sports movie genre. So that's a different genre as well. But it's adjacent anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's good. Because then.
But that movie is just about kids like out doing things.
Living their life. Yeah. It's not exactly on like an extreme adventure like saving pandas.
Yeah, like saving pandas or defeating ninjas.
Or obviously. Yeah. What are you doing with your life? Because then that does get into other things like I don't think these would go on the list, but like because like E.T. is kind of like a kid's adventure movie. Like he's doing the adventure by himself, and then but not really. Kind of. Then I'm also thinking
he's not
of
like but the other ones we talked about, the kids are like alone.
Yeah.
Right? They're like away from parents. So like Home Alone, Dungeons Jackson, Blank Check, right? They're like away from parents. Amazing Pen Adventure.
Okay.
Like the Three Ninjas, even they're like away from their parents. They like leave their parents to go out and do all this stuff. You know what I mean? They're not like at home.
Okay. I officially have one to add to the list about kids leaving their parents to go on an adventure. It may fall into the category of like The Chosen. I'll let you decide. 1991's Hook.
Ooh, tricky because that is a chosen one movie because it's like Peter rediscovering his chosenness.
That's a good point.
But that's a tough one. But they do leave to go. That's a fringe one. That's a fence one. But that's a good one, though.
It is. And Dustin Hoffman has an amazing mustache.
That movie, I feel like everybody talks about Robin Williams in this movie. Not enough people talk about how excellent Dustin Hoffman and Bob Hoskins are.
Oh my gosh. I know.
In this movie. Because it's so good. It's so good. Like them together. It's brilliant. Robin Williams, who saw the credit. I mean, because he's great, but
he's amazing.
Bob Hoskins and Dustin Hoffman. Man, come on.
I mean, yeah, and if you just glance at the Hook in the movie, like you don't get Dustin Hoffman. Like you have to it takes you a little bit to realize who's underneath there because they did the thing with the teeth and they changed his nose and the eyebrows. Like there's a considerable makeup going on in there. But yeah, like he's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and the way that he's acting, he's like he's just chewing it up, man. He's just leaning into it so hard. So good.
Yeah. He's really amazing. It's one of my so many it's a good movie in general, but yeah, I think it is. I do agree it's on that borderline of kind of chosen adventure versus just being true like the kids on their own kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it might be more chosen-y.
Okay.
But it is good either way. Right. All right. Back to what I was going to say about when you talk about the time period that these movies take place in.
Yes. Go ahead.
Right. So I think that's pretty interesting because I don't have any more movies to add to the list.
Okay.
Unless you do.
So I'm out.
All right, yeah, me too. So this time period, right? This kind of like late 80s, early 90s, right? This is interesting because this is very much like kind of the last time where like you heard like the term like latchkey, right? Kids was a thing, right? This like late Gen X, like early millennial, right? Like me, like where you would just like go, like you would just like go out and do things, or we would just get off the bus and I just had a key to the house in my backpack, and then we would just like go inside. That was it, right? Like if nobody was home, it was fine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's okay. It's no big deal. Or like we would go out and mom or dad would just be like, be home by dark. Okay, bye.
Right.
Like that was it. Or, we'd go to the mall and mom would be like, meet me at this bench at 4:00. Goodbye. And like that, that was just it. You just like go around. This is like the last time before everybody was connected by phones. You know what I mean? It's like this genre of movie sort of disappears when cell phones become a thing. Because, as a movie device, if you can just call somebody, your movie is over, right? If Home Alone was now, it would be a 5-minute movie.
Right.
Because it was just like, Facebook message each other and be like, oh, yeah, you left me home. Okay. I'm going to so-and-so's house. See when you get back.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, cool.
I'm good.
See you later.
Yeah, right. Yep. Like
that's good. Yeah.
That's really, the whole movie.
It really was the last time that kids, this is going to sound bad and it doesn't mean but kids could disappear in the world and weren't connected to anything. And so what I think what you're getting at is
and it was like, okay, right? It was like, okay, because there was no expectation of like, I'm going to need to know exactly where you are 100% of the time. Right?
Yes.
Like, bye. Like that was it. Like this was they didn't really know it at the time, I guess. But like, that was the last time when that was a thing.
Yeah. And so these movies really were possibly playing into the what goes on in that interstitial time, right? Like, so these were kids' movies in as much as they were speaking to that time the kids were away from parents on their own adventures about what are they getting up to, basically.
Because some of those movies, like it ends like, what were you doing? Like, oh, nothing. Wink, right? Like wink at the camera, freeze frame, end credits roll. Like that's kind of the thing that happened, right? Like that was it. And a lot of these movies where it's like, even the ones that are like, more like not like kids go off on random adventure, but like other genres of movies where it's like kids in the 90s, they were like, they're just like wandering around the road, running around the street, doing whatever. Like, like, what'd you get up to today? Oh, nothing.
Nothing. Yep.
Ping, like wink, cheesy, like sound effect noise. Ping, right?
Freeze frame.
Like Ferris Bueller-y kind of, where it's like,
oh, well, that's
like goes over.
Yeah, that's another possible one. If you wanted to add Ferris Bueller to, he's older in it, but
he's a little older. That's a little bit slightly different, but like similar vibe,
for sure.
Same kind of thing where like he's just going off and doing his own thing, and like if there were cell phones around and that movie was out, that movie would not happen.
Nope,
because like that might be one of those like high school drama movie, like where high schooler, because he's a high school kid and so on.
Yeah.
So that's a slightly different genre movies. We can talk about that one later. Some good ones in that one. But like, that for this purpose of this conversation, if Ferris Bueller has a phone, game over, right? Because Principal what's his face just like calls dad's cell phone. Dad goes home. Mom goes home. Sees Ferris not there. Movie over. Done.
Exactly.
That's it. Right? Like none of this. I can't get a hold of your dad. Nah.
It's not that's not how this works.
Not happening. So this is like the last unconnected time. Really. Which is why, which weird when we think about it, because like, like I said, these movies didn't know that they were doing that, right? Like they didn't know that this was the end of that, So like you have all these like really crazy adventures and all this stuff going on, and like, but this was the last hurrah of weird, crazy adventure movies where children would be left alone with their own devices, and it was just like normal, right? Like it was just kind of normal, where it was fine, and then just a few years later, it was all gone forever.
It really was.
It was, like.
Yeah, because all of a sudden that couldn't do that anymore. It was not okay.
Yeah, because like I said, we go to the mall. Like mom would legitimately like sometimes like one of our friends would be there, or it would just be us, or whatever. She'd be like, "All right, just go." Okay, like we would go watch a random movie in the movie theater. Go eat French fries. Like
right,
you could go to the arcade thing. You could go into the toy store. Like go wherever you want, and didn't matter as long as you're on that bench by 4 o'clock. If you were not there at 4 o'clock, you were dead. But you could.
Very serious things would happen.
Very seriously, it could happen. But that was like that was it. Because that was the last time where I could go somewhere and people wouldn't like call me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Later it just turned into like, I'm just gonna call you. Like, where are you? Or a little bit after that, text you. Where you at? Get back here now. Okay, coming. Like,
and it's interesting how that has impacted. I don't know. Part of the storytelling and writing to some extent in what stories you can tell because of just the connectedness that we have, right? You're not able to tell these fantastical disappearing from the world and nobody noticing, because these days somebody would notice. And, and the only time like somebody watching that movie would be like, well, that's completely ridiculous. There would be at least 14 people who didn't see their recent Snapchat who'd be concerned that they didn't show up or blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. Yeah. So it does affect the storytelling. It's very weird. Like some movies, like intentionally, like you notice there's like not a lot of phones in them, just because they're sort of establishing like, forget about the phone for a minute so we can tell this. Like there's like,
right.
Pay no attention. Don't remember that you have a phone.
Yeah.
And other movies do the opposite, where they like play it up and then they introduce some sort of like thing that makes the phone not work right. Like,
yes,
they left it. They dropped it.
The charger wasn't plugged in overnight, and
the battery's dead. Something, right? You have to like say that.
There's some plot device. Yeah,
some sort of plot device of like, oh, just nope, doesn't work. Oh, sorry.
Look away.
Like I accidentally grabbed the wrong phone, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, I was at this restaurant and I grabbed some random lady's phone and she had mine. And so,
shucks.
I can't. Oh, darn. Right. Yeah. They have to do that like intentionally. They have to like waste time in the movie. Be like, hey, look. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. The phone that you think. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, jeez.
So yeah, I think that's why, that was a,
that's a really good point.
They didn't know, but that was a common thing in the time. And so that sort of showed up in the movies of like, oh, hey, look, and like you said, like play into like, what about if this happened? Right. Like, oh man,
oh no,
those zany kids, out running amok. You know what I mean? Like, there you go.
I agree. You're here. So watch more 90s movies. There we go. I think that's what we learned today.
Right. Listeners, if you have any movie suggestions about kids on their own running amok, causing shenanigans, let us know what we missed. Tell us what you think of our newest entry into yet another strange subgenre miniseries here on Oh Brother. Let us
keeps coming back around. Can't get away with it.
Good, right? Another what was the episode? Another niche genre, right?
Another niche genre.
So if you like this, go check out that episode. There's more.
There's always more. Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. I like it. We will continue our deep dive into more and more niche genres.
Yeah. No, we gotta get to 90s children's sports movies. Because that's that's a gold mine right there. Small kids doing sports zanily. Woohoo.
It's definitely okay.
At some point in the future, that will happen.
Yes. Okay. And what was the top 5 that we need to come up with that we talked about? Just here in closing here, we talked about doing a top 5 ranking of something the other day.
It was cat movies.
Cat movie. Was it cat movies? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Because we were talking about the mice thing, and then we were talking about cinema cats, and so we thought, we should do a cat movie.
Okay.
But we need to nail down. We need to nail down some criteria.
Yes.
About this.
Yes. This will be on the list. Okay. We will work on this. Moving forward.
We got to nail down some criteria, because now I have some questions about what does that mean? Like, what is starring like cat in this? Because the other one was mouse in starring role, right?
Yes,
like main character, protagonist. Okay,
it does mean that.
That'll be important. I feel like there's a lot more. That's pretty much the other thing we need to talk about, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's animated or whatever. Because we had the other one. We had like Stuart Little was on there, and that's a live action movie.
I do think they need to be in some starring role. In a starring role. Well,
like as protagonist.
Yes. Contributing. So
I mean, like as the main character, right? Because I feel like that's important, because that's how the mouse one was. Like
yes,
the mice were the main characters in the movie.
Yeah, and in order to get
other good animals about,
in order to get good apples to apples comparison with the movies, obviously we need to standardize it's the main character. Yes, I agree.
Well, I mean, yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it wouldn't be fair if it was like, so when you get into these like animated movies where they're all anthropomorphized animals, like it could be that the antagonist is the cat.
Yeah.
But not the main character. So maybe just for my personal list, I would just do there were at least one of the main protagonists.
I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was it we said?
I have to shortlist this one.
We say one of the main protagonists, right?
Yeah, because I can think of a couple movies right now where there's like, 2 main characters or 3 main characters, and one of them is a cat. Maybe not all of them, but one of them. So
that would be okay. I would say allow that.
Okay. All right. Start working on this list.
Okay. And
top 5
top
cat
5
movies.
Cat movies of all time. Tune in.
Of all time. Oh boy. All right. I have a feeling a lot of mine are going to be animated, but that's okay.
Yes. I'm sure we're going to find like some weird obscure like 1930s movie that was built about a cat wrecking
if only
Manhattan apartment.
If only there was a website that would help us with such things.
I know.
Man, that sure would be handy.
And they're going to get a lot of traffic hits from us. Moviecat.com. Okay. And with
Cinemacats.com.
Cinemacats.
One of our favorite places on the internet.
Yes. Many corners. So, okay. Well, with that, we will hang up the microphones for another week.
All right. And I'll start working on my cat list. Even if it's not for next week, I'm going to start working on it.
Same. Yes. Because, yes. Same.
Because, as the tagline says, who knows what will happen?
Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah. Where's our? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You work on an intro outro music. Send over the file. Sounds good.
little like stinger thing. Like, play.
Love it. Oh, love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.